maintain VFR at or below 700 feet.
This is definitely the lowest I've ever had approach asking me to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nose clear. Yeah. Clear the right, tail's clear. Clear! Charles D10. Astronaut strobe on.
This is the helicopter that I did most of my early training in, good old November 142 Victor Alpha, and it's due for its 2200 hour overhaul inspection. The helicopter is going to get completely broken down and rebuilt, and a lot of the parts are going to be completely brand new when it's done. We're taking it up to Sevier County Choppers in Sevierville, Tennessee, with a quick detour in Asheville and a lot of stops along the way. The whole trip is around 1,000 miles, and we logged 13 hours total flight time. Of those 13, we left an hour or two in there to fly around in the mountains once we got up to Tennessee and have a little fun. Now, unfortunately, due to the length of this trip, I was trying brand new external battery packs for the cameras for the first time, and the way I had them rigged up, they ended up not capturing the cockpit audio until later on in the trip when I realized the issue. What I'll do is cut to the highlights and just talk about what's going on during the clips until we get cockpit audio back. Just a few minutes after takeoff from Seguin, we encountered a pretty low but light cloud layer and initially decided to fly a VFR over the top. The thought process behind this was that we were on a long cross country and could use the altitude anyways for the cooler air and to be able to reach ATC for flight following. The two factors that made us quickly reverse this decision, however, were, one, since we were headed eastbound in the morning, the sun was shining right in our face. With the doors off, this wouldn't be a huge issue, but since we had the doors on, the sun has all that clear plexiglass to shine through, and the heat doesn't really have anywhere to go, so the helicopter turns into a miniature greenhouse, and it gets uncomfortably warm. And two, the clouds seem to get thicker farther out, and we didn't want to be stuck on top of a cloud layer, not only in a VFR-only aircraft, but also one that didn't have any IFR instruments at all. So we started a descent and picked a hole to fly back down through. Since we're still in Class Gulf airspace here, our clearance requirements are only that we stay clear of clouds. Since the clouds were so light here in the beginning and we never lost visual contact with the ground, I would say that qualifies as such. Before we were completely out of Texas, we came across a wildfire burning in a pretty remote area. We called out on the air-to-air frequency 123.025 to see if any helicopters were working out there, and it didn't appear that anyone was. After doing a circle around, we did eventually see a few Woodland firefighters down there, and since at least someone was aware of the fire, we gave them a wave and let them do their thing as we continued to the northeast. As we crossed the Mississippi River from Louisiana, we spotted a pretty large flat island that we thought would be a nice little off-airport landing. We decided to circle around and just sit down for a few seconds before continuing on to break up the monotony of the long trip and have a little fun. We picked out a nice long stretch of sand that looked suitable and hooked it around for an approach. I edited out for time, but we did do a mock approach where we get about 40 feet or so above the desired landing spot and then raise the collective pitch until we see a rise in the vertical speed indicator, and this lets us know how much power we're going to have when we get down there in order to climb out. Now that we're done with our little detour, we'll pick back up after a night's rest near Mississippi State University with cockpit audio back working again.
I remember he wants us to pick up and turn around.
Golden Triangle Tower, helicopter 142 Victor Alpha at the AV ramp with uniform.
Helicopter 124 Victor Alpha, Golden Triangle Tower, same tips.
We'd like to request a departure to the west, direct from the ramp with a turnout to the east, 142 Victor Alpha.
Helicopter 4 Victor Alpha, departure from FBO ramp via pilot's own risk. Avoid overfly with two other aircraft. Report clear to the west. Wind calm.
Clear to take off to the west from the ramp, 142 Victor Alpha. I'm going to try holding this thing in front of the air. I shouldn't have left the iPad on the windscreen. It's like I set it up and then that guy came over and chatted with him, and I'm like, oh crap, that thing's getting hot.
Pull that trim for me.
Alright, trim is coming out now.
Helicopter 124 Alpha, roger. Transition Class Charlie airspace approved. Maintain VFR at or below 700 feet.
At or below 700 with 142 Victor Alpha.
This is definitely the lowest I've ever had an approach asking me to stay.
Yeah. Wait until we go to Dallas, Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Unreal how low we get.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like, just stay out of our way.
Get below, please.
Yeah. Alright, you know, I was going to turn off the cameras, but this is pretty cool right now, so we'll let them roll a little bit longer. Alright. I have flight controls.
You have all three.
I have all three controls. Man, this is a very heavily wooded
area.
Neighborhood. Look at this.
Yep.
I bet these houses aren't cheap. At least it's pretty easy to see these towers in this heavy trees like this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm definitely hoping we'll have the ceilings to climb a little bit, get some cooler air.
Yeah, maybe will once we get through this, Charlie.
November 12 Victor Alpha, traffic currently off your right side is a T1 aircraft 1 mile northeastbound, 1,900 feet indicated.
I got that traffic in sight, Copter 42 Victor Alpha. All right, you have flight controls?
I have them.
You have them.
I have all three.
All right, we're going to kill the cameras here, save some battery, and we'll see you guys. All right, I want to turn on the cameras real quick because we're coming into Scottsboro Airport to grab some fuel real quick, but this is kind of a neat approach. We're going to come over this hill. So I have flight controls.
You have all three?
I have all three controls. Scottsboro traffic, helicopter 142 Victor Alpha is 6 miles to the west at 2,000 feet, inbound full stop for the tanks, Scottsboro. Got about a 9-knot tailwind, so what do you say we hook it over to the left and come down on it?
Sure.
All right.
So if you're hooking around this hill and coming in?
Yeah.
Cool town.
It is very cool. Kind of nestled down in here. Look at that. Is that nuclear power plant? Check that out. We need to fly over that thing, dude.
Where are you looking at?
Look at that. About 2 o'clock. Over that hill in the distance.
Oh,
that is cool, bro.
Whoa.
Think we can land in the middle of them?
Is there anything over there that...
restricted? No? That's going to be cool.
No, there's nothing over there that says you can't do it. Clean power plant. Nuclear power plant.
Yeah, those are nuclear cooling towers.
That's going to be so cool. Nothing that says that we can't fly over it. Around it, at least.
Scottsboro traffic, helicopter 142 Victor Alpha is just 2 miles to the west at 1,500. Coming in for a full stop on 22 Scottsboro. Program's coming in. This is a really cool little approach, dude.
If you look off in the distance, you can see that nuclear power plant we were talking about earlier. Tune in next week where we'll start off with a real close look and a few orbits around the nuclear power plant before we continue on our journey to the Tennessee mountains.